Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. You're watching The Big Picture with me, Frank Rajan Pereira. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Friday, that is the 12th of June, announced that the maximum late fee for non-filing of monthly GST sales return for July 2017 to January 2020 has been capped at 500 rupees. Announcing the decisions taken after the 48th GST Council meeting, Sitharaman also said those taxpayers with nil liability will have to pay zero late fee for late filing of GSTR 3B for the same period. The taxpayers having tax liability can file past returns between the 1st of July and 30th of September. Moreover, small taxpayers with a turnover of up to 5 crore rupees will pay reduced rate of interest of 9% from 18% for returns filed for February-April 2020 post the 6th of July if filed by the 30th of September. On this edition of The Big Picture, we will analyze the key takeaways from the 40th GST Council Meet, the first since the lockdown. Joining me on the program today are Subhash Chandra Pandey, former advisor, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, Arvind Virmani, Chairman, EGROW Foundation, and K. Badrinath, Senior Journalist. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this edition of The Big Picture. All right, Mr. Pandey, let me begin the program with you. Let's first analyze the big takeaways from the 40th GST Council Meet, the first since the lockdown began.
You see, as you mentioned, there are three important reliefs given to businesses. One is that there are a large number of people are still struggling with the filing, even nil filings, right from July 17. That itself speaks for some of the practical difficulties in terms of filing. They have filed summary returns, but in terms of filing detailed returns. So for them, nil filers to attract no late fee is a foregone conclusion, but it is nevertheless a relief to a large number of people. Or smaller companies up to 5 crore turnover, they have been given interest relief also from 18% interest to 9% interest. So that will also give them a relief in terms of giving extra time up to September, even for the July return, and also having the interest rates. So these measures are basically liquidity support. They do not in any way lessen the burden of the compliance burden of filing returns, giving them more time with lesser cost. So the business community expectation for the council meeting first after lockdown was especially high to be take up rate rationalization, etc., which for the time being stand postponed.
You know, Dr. Virmani, there have been several measures that have been taken really to help out the industry, especially the MSMEs, and this measure also of, relief as far as late payment of fees, etc. is concerned, is going to bring about some kind of relief to the industry. So who's likely to benefit the most from this?
So generally it's the small people, because the large companies are well organized and they do have their systems in place, and many of them are able to work from home. They have the web facilities, etc., etc. So clearly the smaller people will benefit from it. Before I elaborate further, I think one of the, we have been following each of these reliefs, whether it's in credit measures, government taxation, etc., etc. I just want to mention one complaint I've heard is that the company law people are lagging. The reliefs with the company, and there are a lot of small companies. When we think of company, we always think of large companies, medium, but there are a lot of small companies. And some of the reliefs on that account are very slow. So I would just use your program to point this out. But coming to GST, perhaps we can come back to it, but the whole question of simplification and reform, of course, is pending. I did not expect it to happen in this meeting, but we can discuss when we look forward, into what is going to happen over the next 3-4 months. I can come back to that.
Absolutely. We'll come back to that. We'll talk about simplification really as far as GST is concerned, because that was the whole USP really as far as the GST is concerned, to have a simple and an easy tax regime. All right, K. Badrinath, let me come across to you now, since we're talking about who's likely to benefit and, the kind of measures that have been taken over the last couple of months, really, as far as trying to ease the pain of businesses are concerned. So how much of an impact will this have on the SMEs and the smaller players, really, as far as, giving them some kind of a relief and some kind of breathing space is concerned going forward?
See, look, as summary returns have already been filed, as Mr. Mahapatra said. So my guess is that the detailed returns have to be filed. They have been struggling with this, and they will be in a position to file now that they have got time till September 30th. Now, second part is in terms of relief that you were talking about, Frank. Every day's delay in filing will attract a fees of about rupees 50 per day. So, for a small enterprise with annual sales of about 5 crore rupees, if you are delayed by say 3 months or 6 months, then the kind of late fees you need to pay is huge. So, in that sense, one, as you stated, there is some kind of a breathing space. Second part is that you are also able to, give some amount of, relief in terms of the outgo, in terms of, the money that you need to pay to the government in terms of late fees. But yes, when you talk about the actual kind of relief that the small, medium and micro enterprises were looking for, they wanted some kind of, relief in terms of, input tax credit on the outstanding goods that have been there in the godown and they are not able to sell because of the coronavirus or several other factors that have hit the sales. So, one, they have to pay the standing cost of the goods. Second part is they were seeking some kind of an input tax credit relief, which the finance minister did say that this had not come up for discussion or it was not discussed with the finance ministers of different states at the GST Council meeting yesterday.
Okay. All right, taking the discussion forward now, since we are talking about states, since we are talking about, what to expect as far as the GST is concerned going forward, let's not forget that, we have a special GST meet in July, and of course, there is one single agenda as far as that particular GST meet is concerned on compensation requirements of the states. So how is that likely to go? What is the kind of build-up that we are going to see leading towards that, Mr. Pandey?
You see, when we were working towards developing consensus for GST, I'm going to say states, they were conflicting states between producer states and consuming states, and to bring everybody on board, the center has committed to 14% assured income, and that 14% on a base that was also inflated because of the pre-GST boom in sales. So many states took active campaigns to boost the sales before GST. So they started with a larger base, and on top of that, to give a 14%, it is indeed becoming a challenge, particularly when we have not been able to move as fast on the rate rationalization aspect, which was the core principle of that, converging to diversity of rates to a uniformity of rate. And as you recall, revenue neutral rate discussions hovering around 16-18%. So the particular discussion that we are having today, where in the context of this relief in terms of filing returns, one fundamental thing which I think could have been considered as a part of process reform. Normally, the filing of returns and paying all the taxes due when you file return, these two are coterminous events. But these two could also be delinked, so that the filing of return and the payment of taxes, these two could be have different milestones. So as I said in my initial question, a person who has not filed his detailed return from July 17, even though he has nil tax liability, that means it is not the money or the payment that is holding him so far. So whether 6 months more will be enough to sort his problems out, maybe the kind of a detailed documentation that he was supposed to keep, he doesn't actually have. So the liability to prepare return is not taken off, and that continues. Only thing is that the cumulative burden of late fee is not there, so which was adding to the cost despite tax being nil. So the compensation issue, which will be the single point agenda, it is a solemn undertaking. Based on that, we have undertaken this ambitious tax reform, and no cost is big enough to carry forward this reasonably, in my view.
Okay. All right, Dr. Virmani, on this issue of compensation, the talk of compensation cess, it has been a problem between the center and the states in the past as well. You know, there were quite a bit of challenges on this front. Going forward now, do you think that the challenges are only going to be, even more and going to be more difficult to deal with, considering that, the states have seen massive losses, the economy is not doing very well, and quite understandably so as well because of the lockdown?
So clearly, there was a particular projection. Projections always have uncertainty, but clearly nobody in the world, nobody in India, no committee, nobody who has analyzed the issue of GST or compensation really anticipated something like the pandemic and the lockdown. So clearly, any discussion on this has to start with the sharing of burdens of the lockdown, because clearly there is a massive decrease in GDP and in the revenues which flow from it. It's not just a question of GST; it's all across the board, with the possible exception of few excises, on tobacco and a few other things. So really, and I've been talking about force majeure in this context for the last 6 to 9 months, because people have to focus on it. The government has to focus on it. The economic community has to focus on it. Whether it's a business contract or it's an implicit contract between the government, central government, and the state government. So I don't think that can be evaded by just using this 14% as a mantra. You have to discuss that what happens during an unprecedented, once-in-a-generation event like a lockdown. So clearly, this discussion should take place. And as Pandey indicated, I think the discussion has to now shift towards this whole issue of simplification and improving the buoyancy of the tax through simplification. And I'm hopeful. Just to give you a little background, in the last month or so, we've done extensive work at the IGRO Foundation on analyzing the GST. And we have a comprehensive view now of the complexities in the GST and what needs to be done to simplify it, etc. So we hope to take this before the government and the GST Council, and we are hopeful that some of this will also be discussed at the next council meeting. So this whole issue of simplification, I think now has to come into the center stage, because given that everything is kind of shut down, even the states now are not thinking on the margin. Will I have 2% more or 10% more or less tax? They have to, and in that sense, the burden is taken off. When you're doing business as usual, it matters whether you have a little more revenue or not. But right now, everything is shut. So this marginal analysis becomes kind of irrelevant. And you have to think of the big picture. Okay, what is going to be my buoyancy next year, etc. So I do believe that the states and the central government can be convinced that simplification is the issue which must be put at the center of the table by the next meeting or the meeting after that.
Right. Talking about simplification and cess, Badri, as far as the cess is concerned, I mean, we have so many cesses, and every now and then, we see a new cess being added. So when we are talking about simplification, when we are talking about compensations, cess, So shouldn't be, shouldn't we be working in a direction where we have fewer slabs, and make it a little more simpler and a little more easier rather than making it a little more complex? How do we do that?
My guess is perhaps the simplification process that Dr. Virmani has been suggesting. My guess is now you have a major problem on your hand. And at this point of time, perhaps tinkering with the system may not be feasible, at least in the next 3 to 6 months. In fact, the government should be working in this stage in partnership to see how one would tackle the situation in terms of, the loss in revenue that has been there. As per the figures that have been provided yesterday by the finance minister, the GST collection is at about just 45% as what has been targeted. If you need to support your development expenditure, or if you want to do some capital investment, then you need to keep the revenue flows intact. Second part, before going ahead with the procedural issues, things like that, in fact, inversion of duties was one issue which was bogging a lot of products. For example, footwear, mobile phones, where you're giving back to the companies unintended benefits in terms of refunds. Then third part is the manipulation of the system as such, where there were reports that 40 to 45,000 crores worth GST filtration. So my guess is you need to go for these 2, 3 big large issues rather than going in for one form here and one form there is not.
Mr. Pandey, what steps have been taken, in the recent past really to try and simplify the GST filing process and the tax regime itself?
The major focus in recent times has been shifted to boosting the anti-evasion measures. For example, by way of enhanced coverage of e-way bills, progressive rollout of invoice matching and reverse charge mechanism. The three mechanisms, because there is a considerable leakage in terms of a cash sales, undocumented sales still plug the system, and that is one of the reasons, beside the economic slowdown, the fall in revenues. And it is a catch-22 situation. Because of the falling revenues, the simplification agenda gets postponed, and the more we postpone it, the more we invite the revenue slowdown. And the other aspect about the compensation to states is concerned. One is one can take a view that, well, whether it was a plus or minus or unprecedented, if this is something, a solemn guarantee that center has given to the states and for next 5 years, one is how to finance it. That is also something briefly discussed. One is to straight away move is to impose some kind of a cess to meet this shortfall. But the other option is to go through market borrowings, which are borrowings are nothing but deferred taxation. So borrowings can be used to smoothen the immediate, instead of immediately loading all the shortfall one time and thereby further depressing revenues, the market borrowings can be used to smoothen out the cash outflow problems and therefore take a more staggered approach to calibrating the compensation.
Absolutely. All right. So, Dr. Virmani, what more needs to be done?
As I indicated to you, we've done a comprehensive research on this issue now, and we are kind of ready with concrete proposals. I mean, just to give you a preview, you are the first one in a way getting this preview. We have actually 75 pages of Excel file on which we have given specific recommendations on how to change the rates. And you mentioned the compensation cesses, etc. So the issue is, it's quite right. I mean, this is not the time for marginal changes. Like I said, it's almost, the lockdown in a way has, in a sense, wiped the slate clean. You're almost like you're starting from scratch because there is virtually no revenue. It's like building a system from scratch. So it's a golden opportunity, in my view, to move forward. As I said, we have certain proposals, and the advantage of that is that it's very detailed. It's not just general suggestions. We have outlined the principles. We have taken it to the second level of principles and then applied those in detail.
Yes, Badri, you wanted to add something, and after that, I have a question of my own too. Go ahead.
Well, my guess is that attempting structural issues at this point of time may not be the right way, for the simple reason that already a lot of companies are facing a lot of issues with the present system. If you try and change the system at this juncture, there might be disruptions further. So allow normalcy to return, which has been already thrown haywire because of the COVID-19, and only after that you need to go for any structural changes that Dr. Virmani may have in his mind. One. Second part is that in terms of whether you want to tinker with the rates or go for market borrowing, my guess is yesterday there was a specific mention by the finance minister that borrowings by the GST Council itself was, market borrowings was discussed. Perhaps the July meeting will decide upon the borrowings as well as the compensation package for both the states as well as the revenue losses incurred by the center. I'm fully in favor of simplified structures. Nobody wants any complex structure to be there, but what is the timing is more important rather than how do you do it when there is so much of confusion and there is so much of you are trying to bring economy back on rail, or you want to do structural reforms in the GST. This you need to work out what is your priority.
And talking about complexities and confusions, I want to bring in one more element, something that has taken social media by storm over the last couple of days, something that, people have been talking about, that of the South Indian parotas, not the North Indian parathas, but the South Indian parotas, which in frozen form are going to ensure that it brings about a GST of 18%, but if you have it fresh, it has a GST of 5%. So, Badri, that also seems a little confusing and complex as well. Mr. Pandey, I'm coming to you too for a reaction. Badri first.
Okay, you have touched a very raw nerve, being a South Indian myself. The point here is that as per the GST formula that is there, Mr. Pandey, you can correct me if I'm going wrong somewhere. If it is the packaged food stuff, then the taxation, tax liability will be much higher. So if it is going to be fresh, anyway, the raw food materials do not, attract any tax. If it is a fresh one, maybe 5%. If you eat the same paratha in an AC restaurant, perhaps it will be much more. And if it is a deluxe restaurant, it will be different. So what I'm trying to say, yes, there are complexities. But are we going to hit at these complexities at this point of critical juncture, or are we going to wait for another day? Is a key question that the state finance ministers as well as the center will have to discuss. For example, yesterday the UP had raised the issue of taxation on brick kilns, the brick butties that they talk about, so uske upar kya tax hona hai? What should be the taxation on those? Is an issue which was there. Inversion of duties, that needs to be resolved immediately. It has been discussed for last 3 meetings, and there is no resolution on this issue. And refunds are going out despite your on the inputs you are charging more, and on the final product you are charging lesser. So point on the fertilizers, on the mobile phone inputs, space. So there are several issues that way apart from paratha. So the finance minister yesterday did say that these issues will be looked at comprehensively when the next meeting happens. On the inversion of duties, there has been a consensus, but the mechanics have to be worked out. And group of ministers headed by the deputy chief minister of Bihar, Mr. Sushil Kumar Modi, has been set up or is already there, and it is going to look into it. My guess
Right.
is that there is some amount of movement, but not to the extent that we were expecting.
Okay, all right. Yes, Mr. Pandey.
Yeah, this discussion on parotha and roti, it is actually authority for advance rulings, which has said that parotha is not, the roti is listed in one of the items where it is 5% here. Since parotas cannot be called rotis, so therefore it falls in a different bracket, 18%. And that reminds me, in the late 80s, before we started the Dr. Raja Chelaya committee reforms on the excise and customs, this thing, the best brains in the country used to argue even in the highest court of land whether coconut was a fruit or an oil seed or vegetable, and the tax implications were different. These problems, classification problems, arise when we load the taxation system with multifarious social objectives in trying to differentiate. A tire, if used in bullock cart, will attract zero duty. If used in car, will attract 20% duty. How is the taxman going to track and trace where the bloody tire is being used? So if we can get rid of the tax system from some of these things, which are the end use based. For example, saying if you are buying an AC restaurant, non-AC restaurant, or a biscuit packet costing rupees 100 per kg or less or more costly biscuit, the tax system should be neutral of these things. But unfortunately, we have gotten this in, and that is why all this mess.
Right. Yes. And Dr. Virmani, close the show for us with your concluding remarks. Go ahead.
Right. So very quickly, by the way, this thing we have come across, and it is actually the dispute comes in what is called confectionery, which is at 18%, but in a bracket it says rotis, etc., papad, etc., etc. I can give you the whole list. I have it on my computer, by the way, which says it does not apply.
Yeah.
So, why does this happen? I think Pandey has got it. He knows. I mean, we work extensively. There's never, I'm sorry, I have to strongly disagree with Badri. There is never a right time for reforms. I have heard this 100 times. Whenever we used to try and do reform, somebody would say, this is not the right time, you shouldn't do it. After the fact, they all said, oh, this is a great thing. We have been recommending it for years. So please not get into that. The whole point, exactly what Pandey says, differentiate between 4-digit, 6-digit. Every chapter you have a differentiation. This is inevitable. The whole point of simplification is not individual items. It is comprehensive reform of each of these things. Why are we differentiating? The purpose of every chapter is not to have give one poor person 1 rupee more and the rich person 20 rupees more to pay. That is not the objective. Right. It is to get maximized revenue, and then you use the expenditure system to pay, why direct cash. Why do have all things? Everything cannot be loaded with every single objective. Frankly, that has been the bane of Indian policy. We try to achieve every objective with every policy. You cannot do that. That has failed everywhere in the world. It's failed in India. So the whole purpose of simplification is to just wipe out all these classifications. And it can be done. We have shown it. Hopefully, you see it over the next.
I would only make one line.
Okay, one line, please. No more time. Only one line.
In the name of reforms, let us not bring apples and oranges in one plate, or bring them and tax them at the same rate.
So that should be at a different rate.
That is what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right.
In the reforms, in the name of reform, much has happened. Most of the
okay. All right. Out of time on the program. I'm sorry, I have to cut all of you short. But the parota that I brought into the discussion seems to have excited everyone. On that note, I will call it a wrap on this edition of The Big Picture. Thank you to all my guests for joining me and putting things into perspective. That's it from me. See you again next time.
Thank you. Thank you.